Today's spotlight is on the owner of the Indigo Child Therapeutic Center, Miss Tiffany Vick. Tiffany, how are you? Welcome to the show. How's everything? Thank you for joining us.
Of course, of course.
All right, so
Thank
Tiffany,
you for having me.
it's Autism Awareness Month, and we're going to talk a bit about your story and what your center does, but we'd love to get to know you first. So, can you start off with telling our audience something, anything that we would not be able to Google about you?
Um, I'm a pessimist.
A
I
pessimist.
believe that, yes, everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and then I'm not surprised when it happens. So
Oh,
when it happens, I'm like, I knew that was gonna happen.
you,
I knew I wasn't gonna get that. I
I
knew
know,
I wasn't gonna do that.
I know
So
some
yeah,
people in my life
I'm
like
a
that.
pessimist.
I'm not.
That leads to good
I don't
preparation,
like
though.
being disappointed.
Fair
That leads
enough.
to good preparation because you're always prepared for the worst, and you could possibly pivot very easily. So, not
Right.
necessarily a bad trait.
It's not
Not
necessarily,
necessarily.
not
Yeah.
necessarily a bad trait. So you're living in the DC area. Are you from the area?
Yes. Born and raised.
Oh
I
yeah, me and Lizzie.
Northeast
Yeah.
DC. Yep.
Woohoo.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So you know Lizzie. How do you guys know each other?
We met in the second grade at Fort Lincoln Elementary School and have known each other and
Ooh.
been great since then. She's one of my oldest and closest friends. I absolutely adore her.
Fort Lincoln Elementary. All right.
Yeah,
So, can
which
I?
is no longer, by the way.
What'd you say?
They tore it down. They tore it down. It's
Yeah,
no longer a
they tore
school.
it down. Yeah, it was at one point. It was one of the best and most immaculate elementary middle schools in the city. It
Yep.
sat. So I don't know if you're familiar with it, Neo, but it sat on the top of the hill where Fort Lincoln Cemetery
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I know where that is.
At the very top of the hill. It had an amazing playground. It had an
Uh,
indoor playground, an
indoor
indoor
playground.
pool, an
Indoor.
outdoor pool. Like it was, we didn't know what to do with ourselves. But let me just say,
Mm-mm.
for Tiffany's moment, I thought she was gonna say, because this is something that happened when I think it was second or third grade when
Oh,
Tiffany
yeah.
accident on the outdoor playground in which she
Speak
broke
off
her
with
arm
Ooh.
and had some severe facial fractures. But we were little, and a lot of us were there and saw it happen.
Mm.
And let's just say it wasn't necessarily an accident that happened to Tiffany. Like somebody pushed her
Mm.
and caused that to happen. And so yeah, it was very traumatic. So I thought that's what she was gonna say because I mean I had never at that point we were what 8, 9. I had never seen
Yeah.
anything like that. Her arm was all over the place. Like it
Ooh.
was really
Oh,
traumatic
Jesus Christ.
for us.
It
It was
was.
very
And the
traumatic.
crazy, you know what the crazy thing is like, so when you were younger, everybody imagine when they were younger, right? Your parents always say, I'm not taking you to the emergency room. I'm gonna do this. So at the time, I had to test to get into Fort Lincoln. I lived across town in like the McKinley Tech area.
I know where
But
that
so I
is.
went to Emory Elementary at first, but I kept falling asleep. They were like, I think she's bored. Let's test her. There's a new school called Fort Lincoln. So I went there. It was three other girls from that elementary school that did the same thing. So our parents got together and we carpooled. Well, it was one of the other parents' day and we didn't have cell phones. She took me all the way home and I walked through the door. I still had dirt all in my face. My
Ooh.
like she said, my wrist was broken.
Oh.
And I just remember my mom being on the phone and she looks to the door. She said, what the hell
I would have been going crazy
happened?
too.
And I was like, oh, God, oh,
Yeah.
and so she's like, I gotta take her to Children's, and I had to stay in Children's for like 7 days.
Children's
I
Hospital.
wound up getting it, and if yep, I had an infection in my lip, and my wrist was broken, but it was so severely broken that I had a cast all the way up to my shoulder.
Oh
So
wow.
I ate out of a straw for like about a month. It
Mm.
was bad.
It was it was
It's so
it
bad.
was bad. It
Did the
was bad.
person get punished? Whoever did it?
Well, what happened was we were all it's a spiral sliding board, and so it spirals around and then it
Mm.
comes out,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm,
So you
mm-hmm.
have to climb up and then you slide down. You climb up and then you slide down. So we were all racing. And she was like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And she pushed me over the side. And I
Mm.
fell on
But
the
she didn't do
part
it
that comes out.
intentionally.
I don't think she
Look at Lizzie's
did.
face. She's like, yes, she did. Yes, she did. All right. All right. All right. So, as I said at the top of the show, it's Autism Awareness Month, and you have an autistic child. So, what has that
Yeah.
experience been like for you?
Uh, busy. Very busy. He's 15 now. Um, we got his diagnosis when he was 7. So, but I've always known since he was about 2 years old. He used to do this thing where he has a twin sister. They had this table and chair set. He would turn the chair upside down. He would run around it and just stare at it and run around it. So I'm like, what's going on with this little boy? So I would turn it right side up. He would have a full meltdown. I mean, cry. He's on the floor. He's kicking and screaming. I turn it back upside down. He stopped.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay. Then he used to do this thing with like crayons and pencils. He would go like this, and that would keep him quiet for a long period of time, right? So I'm like, okay. So I just started noticing things, and he absolutely hated school. Um, so I was begging him, I think you should probably get him tested. Something's a little different. Not wrong, but a little different. And so they were like, oh, no, he's fine. He's a boy. I tell the pediatrician, he's a boy. Boys develop slower than girls. He has a twin sister. She's doing all the talking. I'm like, no. So he was about 4 when he got potty trained. She was 1. But then when she noticed that he wasn't doing it, she said, well, neither am I. So she reverted back, and
Mm,
then it's kind of been like that
mm,
ever since, where she's like, why does he get so much attention? And then later on, I physically bumped into an OT at the elementary school they were at. And she was like, oh, you're the twins, mom? They're awesome. I was like, yeah, but I'm a little concerned about my son.
mhm,
She
mhm,
said, okay, write a letter. And I said, but I've been telling them. She said, put it in writing. You
mm,
put it in writing, and they have to test him within a certain amount of time. I swear to you, maybe 3 days after that letter, they tested him. Sure enough, he has autism, he has ADHD, and he also has depression. And I think they just say depression because when you talk to him, his name is Drew. You go, hi, Drew. He goes, hi.
mm.
Well, how are you? I'm good. So looking at him, he's kind of like what's the little thing on Winnie the Pooh? The little donkey that
Eeyore.
walks around.
Eeyore.
Eeyore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he's kind of like that. It's like it's nothing wrong, but that's just how he is. He's just like, hey, hi, okay, So,
Yeah.
but it's been an amazing ride with him. He keeps me on my toes. Every year is something different. So when I think that I've overcome something, I'm like, okay, yes, we're good. Wait, what is this new thing you're doing? What is this? So it's like,
That's
and I'm
funny.
like, okay, they're almost 15, all right, but now it's like, ooh, how do I explain puberty to him? How do I,
Yeah.
Mm.
explain certain things? Because he's 6'2". This dude
Oh,
is 6'2",
how old is he?
huge. He's 15.
15 at
He,
6'2"?
Still
he
growing too. Still
Mm,
growing too.
and yeah, and he wears a size 15 shoe.
Woo.
He's getting facial hair that he absolutely hates. So he used to take our razors that we shave, the females, because it's 4 girls in the house altogether,
uh-huh.
and he would take our razors and shave.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't know this boy was doing this, but he was shaving his mustache off. He was shaving his beard off because he went through puberty really early. So he has the really deep voice,
Mhm, mhm.
and he's online playing video games. But sometimes when he's online, they mistake him for a full grown man,
Yeah,
and he's
I
like,
bet.
"Mom, I don't
I
understand,"
bet.
and I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I like
Yeah.
you playing with only who you know."
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So because they'll
So,
curse him out and everything, and I'm like, he was at the time he was like 12.
yeah,
I'm like,
online, they're vicious online. They can be really vicious.
Tiffany,
So,
yeah,
Tiffany,
Robbie,
Neo and Rob are gamers,
yes, we
so
are.
okay,
they know
And
about that
yeah,
online
there's some
atmosphere.
vicious conversations online that are not very kind. So,
yeah,
Visceral.
yeah.
you want to
Visceral.
avoid people you don't know. So,
That's what
Rob,
I was trying to tell him, man.
yeah. So, Rob, did you have a question?
Yes. So what is one of the greatest challenges that you have been able to help your son overcome?
Oh, that's a good question and a hard question because I'm so hard on myself. So I feel like I really haven't helped him enough. You know,
Mm,
um, his dad and I divorced when they were 8. So it's been a big, and then he moved down south. So I've been pretty much raising, I have 4 kids altogether, and I've been pretty much raising them, physically on my own. Eventually, he came around and started, stepping up and doing things financially and coming up to see them and stuff like that. But in the beginning, it was hard. So I think it really was maybe trying to, no, because I don't feel like they're over it yet. Um, I guess maybe dealing with the fact that his dad is no longer here. Because
mm,
at first it was like when the girls were crying, he was looking like, why are they crying? And then he was like, okay, I guess I'll start crying. And then we were playing the
Mm.
Wii at the time. He was like, oh, Dad, I got to delete your person off the Wii. It didn't phase him at all.
mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, not at all. But now he is starting to he's starting to recognize other people's emotions,
Okay.
which is very hard for someone with autism.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Are you?
Thank you. So first off, Tiffany, I want to say thanks. Like, I think that sharing your story is really powerful. What you
Thank you.
experienced and how you have overcome so many of these challenges that I think definitely are really hard. And the advocation for your child is huge,
Oh yeah.
right? That's big, right? Like you said, I think
Right.
that OT gave you the right, that the letter itself was powerful in making sure that you knew everything that he needed, to be seen in all of his gifts, which is awesome. And I guess for
Thank
me, so I think, like, as a parent, I'm a parent of 4. I have not had as many challenges at all in terms of their development, but I know that we always learn things about ourselves. So I would say, like, what is it that you've learned about yourself in this process
Mm.
of
Mm.
helping
Mm.
support him and helping supporting, and even your organization of helping supporting other families and other kids?
that I am more patient than I thought I was.
I can imagine.
You have to have a lot of patience. I mean, you could say that you love children, you could say that I like working with children. That's all fine and good, but if you don't have that patience, um, then it's not going to work for you. We were at a mall in South Carolina, and this was before his actual diagnosis. I diagnosed him myself. I was like, okay, I think he has autism and is this, that, and the third. We were in the mall. Everybody, if you're from almost every mall has a Spencer's, right? So you know
Mhm.
what's in the
Yep.
back of
Spencer's. Yep.
Spencer's.
Yep. Hmm.
In the front of it, what attracted him was
Toys.
he was into exactly. He was into the Mario, Sonic, things like that. So in the front, they have that. So he said, "Mom, can I get this Sonic book bag?" I was like, "Okay, yeah. If you wait, I'll take you." So he waited. I went. Next thing I know, he let go of my hand, ran to the back.
Mhm.
I lost it because I'm like, first of all, where did he go? And then if he went in the back, I know what's in the back of Spencer. So I'm like, hey, dude, no,
What's in
you
the
can't
back?
do
I
that.
don't know what's in the back of
It's
Spencer's. What's in
toys.
the back?
Adult
It's
toys. Adult
toys,
toys.
Th-
Adult
toys.
Oh, oh,
Nothing for
Mm.
oh.
kids to see. Nothing for kids to see, for
Exactly.
sure.
Look at her face.
Liz fake.
I don't know. I don't even know what Spencer's is. So I'm just like,
Oh,
Oh wow.
it's
It's
a
a
little
cute
like
little store.
yeah. It's like a Nick's. It's like odds and ends store. It's like just fun.
Mostly like comic
Yeah,
and like it has a little bit of everything in
a
there.
little bit of everything.
But
Yeah,
I
Gag
kind of
gifts
went
and
off
stuff.
on
yeah.
him.
Gifts like yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I kind of told him, I was like, you can't do that. So now you can't get the book back. He had a whole meltdown in the mall, and we were going to stores trying to find the girl shoes. He was crying the whole time, people looking at me, and I'm
Mm.
just like, come on, let's go, and the girls was like, Mommy, you were very patient with him. And I said, yeah, because he knows he can't do that. And so the girls was like, how did you not kill him? Because if it was us, you would have like whooped us in
Yeah.
the middle of the mall. I was like, because I know what I'm dealing with. So I
Right.
have to be
Hmm.
patient because me giving him a spanking or something like that was just going to make it worse and more embarrassing.
Hmm.
So packing that
Yeah.
patience in, you got to have it. You have to.
Patience. Patience. So, Lizzie,
Yeah, that's huge.
So my question is about specifically about Drew. Like, does Drew understand his condition or that he's a bit different? And if he does, like, how does he process it?
That's that. I think that's probably the hardest part. I didn't tell him until he was, I think probably going to middle school, because I was a little afraid, that he is a little different. So he, I didn't tell him because Drew is the type that he can manipulate a lot of situations, right? So if I told him, Drew, clean your room, oh, I can't do that. I got autism. Drew, go take the dogs out. I can't do that because I got autism. I can't do my homework. I can't do these things. So I know my son, so I was like, I'm gonna wait, but I wanted to tell him as he got older so that he would know how to handle it. He still has not embraced it, I don't think. Um, because his friends don't know. And they're like his best friends. But
Mm.
when he and his sister wrote a book and they were like, hey Drew, you got autism? He was like, nah, I just said that just to write the book. And I was
Uh,
like, dude. I just said, all right, I'm gonna let you do what you do, let you handle it. So I think he wants to be quote unquote normal so bad that
Mm-hmm.
he tries to do the things that the other kids do, and he's very good at it, but he fixates on it so that he can master it. So, that's the hard part, just him accepting it himself.
so, where did the
So his
Indigo
so
Child
hold up.
Therapeutic come from? How did you start that?
It was because of him. As he got older and we're going through different things, I knew that it was other parents out here like me that needed that help. Um, because I was a behavior therapist in DC for another company. And so I've been in this field for about 8 years now. And it has helped me a lot with him. But then as I got older and I noticed that I couldn't really grow with that company, no matter how much I would say, okay, I think it's time for me to leave, she'd be like, no, no, I'll give you $5 more. I'll give you
An
$10 more,
hour.
you know? Yeah, and I'm like, okay, and I really loved my job and I loved my boss, but it was no growth for me. It was nowhere else, nothing else I can do. I was pretty much running her DC company for her while she was creating her Maryland company.
Mhm,
But I wanted to work with older kids as Drew got older because I was like, okay, he doesn't really know what a bank account is.
mhm,
He
mhm,
just knows I
Mm,
have my card and it's money on it. He doesn't know that I have to work for that money. He knows I go to work,
mm,
but he doesn't put them two and two together. So what I
mm,
wanted to do with the program was work with the older kids, teach them financial literacy, teach them how to wash their clothes, how to cook small meals, how to just be a little more independent because it dawned on me I'm not going to always be here.
mhm,
And my son is going to have to fend for himself, although he has three sisters. And we just had this conversation the other day. I said, if something was to happen to me or your dad, who out of the three of you guys think that you would be able to take care of Drew? Everybody's like, me, he's gonna
mhm,
come with me. No, he's gonna come
mhm.
with me. He's gonna go with me. And then they said, Drew, who you wanna come with? And he was like, I don't know. And that was the end of the conversation. Like it was like, but you're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings. And he was just like, nah, I'm good. I don't wanna be in the thing that y'all got going. So he did it again and it was just like, okay. But you know, as he got older, I noticed that it was a lot of parents there. I was like, hey, it's parents going through what I'm going through. So
Mhm,
that was my initial program. But then when I opened up um June of last year, I started getting a lot of parents call me saying that they needed services, they were on wait lists. So now I'm getting calls as young as 2 and 3 years old
mm,
because
mm,
it's everybody's on the wait list. So I haven't even initiated my original program because I don't want these parents to be on the wait list. I want them to get services. So we offer behavior therapists, which is known as behavior therapy, which is known as ABA. We offer speech therapy and we also offer therapy.
You also offer what? Say it
Sorry,
again.
she keeps
Sorry.
My sister keeps calling me on different phones, and I'm like, I can't talk right now. But so it's ABA therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy.
Okay.
And there's such a wait list for ABA specifically because everybody wants that, right? So in ABA, what we do is we just kind of teach them how to control their behaviors, and not necessarily bad behaviors, but like behaviors as with them trying to stay focused in school, them trying to actually be still and sit and concentrate on doing their homework. Some of them do have negative behaviors to where they need help trying to redirect that energy to where they, don't fall out on the floor. Let's figure out why you're upset, and then we'll go about it like that. So it's a lot of redirecting when it comes to ABA therapy, but um it has really opened my eyes. This side of the spec of the whole thing has
Yeah.
made me learn a lot because I was always on the employee side.
Right.
So me being on the employer side, I'm like fighting with the insurance company. I'm like, getting parents that's crying to me on the phone. The good thing is I know what they're going through.
Yeah.
And that's how I usually relate to the parents because I'm like, listen, you're not just talking to somebody that works here. My son is 15 and he's on the
Someone
autism
who's
spectrum.
dealing with it.
So I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. This one lady, she was like, are you in my house? I was like, no, this is what my son did. This
That's
is
what
what
you
your
do,
son
right?
is doing. And she was like, yeah, he's doing exactly that. I was like, yeah, it's just, all children with autism are not the same, but they have similarities. So it's certain
Yeah.
things that they will do. Like my son has never flailed his arms. He's never done that. But he has like run like Sonic because that's what he saw and that's what he wanted to emulate. So, it's certain
Makes
things
sense.
he, like I said with the pencil, he does that, but it's little things that he does other people don't do, and it's
Yeah.
things that other people do that he doesn't do. So just because it's a saying you met one person with autism, you've met just that one person with autism. All of them are not the same.
Unfortunately, Tiffany, we're running out of time. So I want to give you a chance. Any last words that you have? Anybody you want to shout out or anything you'd like to tell our audience? And then also make sure you let people know where we can find you.
Well, just if you have not gotten that diagnosis, because that's a long wait list as well, hang in there. Hang in there. And they can call me. I've been referring people out to even certain clinics and centers to get their diagnosis. So I just want to help them be able to get the services that the kids need because that's a big thing. And COVID really wore on these kids a lot,
I
man.
bet.
Like disrupting their schedules was hard for them. So trying to get them back to where they were in 2019, it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
So my phone number is 240-244-9778. The email is the Indigo Child Therapeutic at Hotmail. I have a website, but it's a free one and it's something, something, something. But if you Google us lately, I've heard
Just
that the
Google it.
algorithm has been kicking us to the top.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
it's
So Google the Indigo Child Therapeutic Center. You should be
the
able to
Indigo
find.
Child Therapeutic. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
All right,
And
Tiffany.
we're
Well,
on Facebook and Instagram.
okay. Facebook and Instagram. So check that out as well.
Yep.
Tiffany, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate you sharing
having me.
your story, sharing
Thank you.
your and telling us all about the Indigo Child Therapeutic Center. So we really appreciate you joining
Yeah.
us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And
We'll have you
April
back
is
soon.
Autism Awareness Acceptance. So wear your blue. I got my blue. It doesn't matter
I
what
have
day.
my blue
Usually it's April
on.
2nd.
I
Yes.
have my blue
So
on.
Love it.
Yes, yes.
if you, yes, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome, Drew. Hey, Drew.